You're watching Photographing the World 4 Behind the Scenes. If you'd like to learn more about the full tutorial, check out fstoppers.com/store.
What's up, everybody? It's another really cold day in Patagonia. I think it's about 1 degree out. The wind is cranking as usual, which is why I have my right hand on the tripod, because if I let go, it might go off this hill. I'm overlooking the mountains that are partially obscured right now by the clouds. So driving back and forth here and scouting a little bit, I found this really cool area where the bend of the river, and there's a little waterfall there, leads into the part of the mountain that I can actually see.
We started filming this lesson in hopes that the weather would clear and we would actually be able to get a clear shot of the mountain. Sadly, that never happened and we were never actually able to return to this location. So this lesson never made it to the tutorial. The weather ruined our shoots again and again, day after day.
Another early morning and it's looking pretty rainy out there.
This series is going to be like 4 behind the scenes and like 1 or 2 lessons. So I hope you guys are enjoying everything we're going through, because who knows when we're going to actually be able to teach you something.
It is so overcast that we can't see the mountains even if we get right up on them. So we've been here for 4 days, 4 or maybe 5 days now, and we only have 2 lessons completed, so we're running out of time.
Because there wasn't anything to film, we kept trying to come up with new ways to entertain ourselves.
All right, so I have just spent at least an hour in the hot tub, an hour in the pool, and now I'm doing what any sensible person would do. I'm going to get an hour-long massage.
All right, just got done with the massage. I have to say, that was one of the best massages I've ever had. It's now time for Lee, and if you know, back in Cambodia, Lee had some kind of interesting, we both had interesting massage stories.
So then I started to take my pants off, and she starts going, no.
He's not a big fan of massages, and he definitely doesn't like pain, and I just told the masseuse to really go hard on him.
So then it was my turn to have a nice, luxurious massage.
I was like, I don't have back pain. But she found this pressure point to just, You know, I keep thinking like, okay, she can't keep doing this forever. She's going to have to stop soon. And it's like, you know, it's like the pain, like I'm so close to being like, hey, stop doing that. Quit touching me right there. Like, so she'll stop and she'll move on to something else. And I'm like, all right, you know, that feels kind of good. And boom, back to the gristle. Just, and I'm like, how long can she do it? Then she started doing these weird stretch things with me. And she puts me in this Kimura move. And she starts like bending my arm back. And I mean, if I was in jiu-jitsu, I would have tapped like a long time ago. And she's like, she keeps going and going. And I'm like going to this mental place where I'm like, you can beat this. Like, she's not trying to hurt you. She's not going to hurt you.
She does this every day, multiple times.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, she's about to stop. She's about to stop. Boom, she pushes it further. And I'm like, that was the closest I came to being like, yo, stop this whole event. Like, I don't even want to be here anymore. This is the worst thing ever.
Was it better or worse than the one you had done in Cambodia? The experience as a whole.
I can't enjoy myself because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've scarred this poor young girl for life seeing me naked.
Yeah, but you may have a criminal record on you.
Yeah, that one was one of the most awkward experiences of my life.
So that day ended up being a total loss, but we had high hopes for the next morning. Sadly, when we woke up, the mountain was still completely covered in fog.
It's just too foggy this morning to get anything, but there's a really awesome rainbow right outside our window. Now we've got a double rainbow. What does it mean? So that's pretty awesome, but I really wish there was a mountain behind that rainbow. So I think the plan is to hang out here and then maybe leave after lunch and hope that we can get a sunset session in tonight. But the weather here has not been very good so far.
What's up, everybody? We're standing at Lake Peowe. Behind me, Torres de Pane. Well, it was behind me. It was behind me like 5 minutes ago, and the clouds just came in. The wind is blowing so strong today. We're actually sheltered here, if you can believe it. It's blowing about 40, 50 miles an hour. The area that we wanted to photograph today got completely shut down. In fact, the park closed it because there were gale force winds.
We actually woke up and went back to this exact same location to try to salvage this lesson, but the weather still stopped us from filming.
We can't film in this. We can't shoot in this.
Why's that?
Well, one, there's no mountains, and two, the water spray is crazy. The wind's out of control, so it's impossible to force a long exposure enough for these waves, and doesn't look good. But we put our own money into these projects, so we love being here in Patagonia, but when we go day after day after day and there's bad weather, it's costing us a lot to be here, to not be able to film lessons. And what's frustrating, these locations are so amazing, but we're getting shut down like day after day after day. And it's the wind, or you can't even see the mountains, or a combination.
You recognized Elia, right?
Yep.
How did you recognize him?
Just from watching F-Stopper videos.
The gorgeous locks.
You can't even see my hair right now, dude. I feel like this is beyond not great. This is like, oh, imagine there was this amazing thing going on in the background. Next time you come, I guarantee it'll be better.
So once again, we headed back to the hotel completely empty-handed, and at this point, we were really starting to get worried. The only thing we could do now was hope for better weather tomorrow.
Just for the record, I was against this idea. They said, it'll look good. Stand in front of the splashing waves and the gale force winds. It'll look awesome, like you're really taking a photo.
All right, let's talk about storing data. This trip is insanely expensive, much more expensive than I would like for it to be, and much more expensive than any photographing the world before. A big reason for that is that we had to hire an external company to help plan and tour us around everywhere. It's actually the law here. Therefore, if we lose any footage, it would be a catastrophe. It would be the biggest loss in F-Stopper's history. So, here's what we're doing to back everything up. This is a Synology NAS device, network attached storage. It has 4 little bitty hard drives in it, and it's set up on a RAID system, so we can lose a hard drive and we won't lose any data at all. But I don't just trust this. So what I'm doing is every day or so, I am also backing everything up to another external hard drive. So you can see I've got this going here, and this is going to take 4.5 hours, and this is footage just from 3 days worth of shooting. Now there's a few things that could happen. We could lose data because of a hard drive failure. We could lose it because of, maybe we accidentally delete something. I want to protect myself from that as well. Maybe we get robbed. So if we get robbed, I want to have our data here, and I want to have it with Elia. So I've actually got another external hard drive, and I am going to be backing everything up to that as well. And then every few days, I'm going to be switching with Elia. And as long as we keep rotating, hopefully all of these files and all of this work that we're all putting into this will be safe no matter what happens. Of course, if this place burns down, we're going to lose it all anyway. So hopefully that won't happen.
This is like the 4th, 5th day? Maybe? I don't even know. I've lost track. And we're about to go hike back to a location that we've already done to scout. Today we're trying to shoot the lesson. And here is what the weather looks like. Alright, so I'm going to put this GoPro in the window like we always do and just get some driving shots.
So even though the weather was still looking rough, we decided to head back into the park, and on the way, the fog started to clear.
Alright, this is one of the most frigid locations I think we've ever shot. It's just so windy. It's probably not really that cold. It's probably like 40 or 50, but the wind, I mean, this is like hurricane force winds. But the view from this little area is unbelievable. We've actually got a little cover here, so where we are right now, it's not as windy as it is just up there, but you gotta see this view. This is unbelievable. Look at that.
Even though we were freezing, we were so excited to have clear weather that we couldn't wait to start filming this lesson. And I'm happy to say that this lesson probably ended up being the most beautifully shot from this entire tutorial.
What's up, everybody? We are still in Patagonia, Torres de Paine behind me, the two spires, one of the most unbelievable mountains I've ever seen in my life. We are at this cool waterfall area called Salto Grande, and with a little bit of a hike down, we found this area where all of the rocks and the rapids are shown and the entire mountain chain. I have to think about, one, finding a good composition, two, finding a way where I'm not going to get too much water spray, and three, finding an area that's sheltered from this incredible, insane amount of wind that we have too. The other thing is, with all these jagged rocks, I have to find a good place that I can set up my tripod to avoid it being knocked down by this wind. So it has to be really secure, safe, and of course, a really nice composition. Just like the other locations here, this is my first time here, and again, my instinct is to go right to the water. Let's go ahead and scout out a few compositions so that I can get set up to get ready to get the shot.
And once again, the wind ended up being a huge problem.
3, 2, 1. Photographing the world. Holy shit! Wow! That was hurricane frickin' force winds. There wasn't anything, there's no other way to describe it. Like, I've walked around in category 1 hurricanes, and I have not been knocked over like that. So while I have my reference frame in this shot, let's go ahead and take a look at the settings. My settings at f8 ISO 100, and 100 is the lowest I can go with the GFX 50S. I'm getting a shutter speed of 50. So a shutter speed of 50. So right now, that's not going to soften the water. Let's go ahead and ramp this up to f32, and now I'm getting a shutter speed of 1/3.2. So if I take that shot really quick, you can see the one slower shutter and the faster shutter. Not a whole lot of difference, but you can start to see that the water is getting a little bit softer. So I have a feeling that as the light starts to fall off, I should be able to get a half-second exposure here in camera.
Back in post, Alaya used a few different images, combined them together to create one incredible final shot.
All right, so far so good, but we have some issues in the sky. Now, mainly that issue is the specular highlights on the clouds. I tested this before I selected the exposures to bring in with the lesson files themselves, and I found that even a more underexposed scene, since it was backlit, still had these highlight problems in the sky. So the sky was just too bright on these little places. So rather than being able to fix it in the raw file, you can see it here, we're going to use a different method. I'm going to create a new layer. We're going to call this Sky Cleanup. And what I'm going to use is the paintbrush tool. And I'm going to select a small and soft brush, and I'm going to pick a flow. This is going to seem ridiculous, but like 2%, because I just want to paint lightly. And if I press the Option key on the keyboard and click and roll through the image, I can actually select any color that's in the palette, from the mountain to the sky to the clouds. So I'd actually take this dark color and I could start painting it over the sky. Well, obviously that looks horrible, so we're not going to do it that way. But what I can do is start to pull some of these nice highlights, like this color here, and I can start painting right over top of these highlights. And I can just keep sampling colors so that I can paint in different and more diffuse specular highlights.
All right, we just wrapped up, and I am freezing. I didn't really come dressed appropriately, but as you can see, everyone's packing up. You ready to hike out of here? And
let's get the hell out of here.
And I feel like this is the most beautiful lesson we've shot so far. I mean, we've only really gotten 2 lessons, but if this is a sign of things to come, I feel like this is pretty good.
Hey, it's a bobcat.
Stay tuned for next week's episode when we head to Argentina. To learn more about photographing the World 4, head over to fstoppers.com/store.